So let's jump right in. We have a lot of stuff to do today. So let's start with a little bit of word problem review. So last class we worked on word problems. We're going to work on a couple right now. Here is a ratio question. Go ahead and read it to yourself and we'll work on it together. So a lot of times on the GMAT, as far as ratio questions are concerned, you want to make a chart, basically, to a graph to contain all the information. So a cookie batter recipe consists of flour, sugar, and butter. And whenever we're dealing with ratios, we also have to have the total. So we want to create a row for the ratio itself. And then we want to create a row for the actuals. And this is pretty consistent. Without doing a lot of thinking or even having finished reading the question, I'm pretty comfortable making this. So a cookie batter recipe consists of flour, sugar, and butter, and then of course the total. And then we just basically start filling this thing in. 5, 3, and 1. So these are the ratios. We add those up. That should give us 9. They then tell us a little bit of information. Remember, they have to give you enough information to answer the question, so you know that you can get the answer, and so they have to, you know, they give you enough information to do it, unless one of the answer choices was there's not enough information to answer this question. So they said if 81 ounces of the batter is prepared, so the actual amount of batter, of total batter prepared was 81, how many ounces of flour, how many more ounces of flour than sugar will it contain? So we see, and this is pretty consistent in how these questions work on the GMAT, we see this ratio, a factor of 9 here. So we know this factor applies across all of these. So these are the other values that we also multiply by 9 to give us what we're looking for. So now let's go back and see what the question said. If 81 ounces of the batter is prepared, how many more ounces of flour than sugar will it contain? More ounces of flour. So we see that there are more ounces of flour than sugar, and they want to know how many more. So 45 minus 27 should give us 18, and we see that that's an answer, and we're going to go for it. Oops. Great. Playing as Jake today. Go ahead and confirm our answer, and we were correct. So you can always check out the explanation in more detail if you're working on your Grockit homework. Great. So that ratio chart that we made is pretty consistent way to work ratio questions on the GMAT. If it doesn't go anywhere, then the ratio is addressing a different issue, but I usually default to that mode when I'm working them. So here's another question. This is a little bit more difficult. Let's take a look at it. Go ahead and read it to yourself and we'll work it together. So if you have a headache by the time you're done reading this question, don't worry about it. That's kind of normal. That's what they're trying to do. It's a complicated question. There's a lot of moving pieces to it. But let's just keep ourselves organized. Let's break it down into pieces and pull the language into some information that we can manage a little bit more effectively. So we have Anthony and we have Cindy. And they were each given X dollars in advance to perform at a community festival. Anthony eventually performed on all 14 days, while Cindy performed on 4 fewer days than Anthony. They could have just told us 10 days, but they said it this way instead. 10 days. If Cindy gives Anthony Y dollars, so Cindy loses Y dollars and Anthony gains Y dollars of her advance payments, so that those, right, we took it from the right amount, so that they would have each received the same daily rate. This is the part, so that they would each receive the same daily rate. So this is the part that we have to pull from words into some sort of arithmetic or algebra. Let's just check real quickly and see how folks are doing. Keep that where it is. Very good, 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 good. Awesome. So we have to turn this little piece, each receive the same daily rate. Don't try and answer, a lot of times people get intimidated, they read a GMAT word problem and they feel like, oh, if I was really smart, I would just have the answer by the time I was finished reading it. Just take it one little piece at a time. So how do we work on this? Each receive the same daily rate. Well, how would I figure out Cindy's daily rate? It's this amount that she has divided by the number of days. So I should have x minus y over 10 should give me the daily rate for Cindy. And they tell me that they want them the same, so same would be an equal sign, and this would be Anthony's daily rate. So we have just created a algebraic equation for ourselves. We can do a little cross multiplication, and we should get something to the effect of, I'm going to work over here, we should get something like what, 10x plus 10y equals 14x minus 14y. Let's gather our terms. If we add 14y to both sides, we should get 24y. And if we subtract 10x from both sides, we should get 4x. And then if we divide both sides by 4, we should get 6y equals x. And then they ask us, what was Anthony paid in advance in terms of y? Well, in terms of y, Anthony was paid 6y. Great. So let's go for that. Confirm. Nice. Very good. So word problems, we worked a couple that were not super easy, and we really just broke them down into pieces. It's just a way of looking at things that you have to get out of the head mindset of trying to just take all those words as one big thing. Just take one sentence and turn it into something. Turn one word and represent it as something that's workable. Great. So let's jump over to our slides and just to go over some of the basics that we have. Yesterday you went through this lesson with our Director of Academics, Jake Becker, and I got a chance to just catch a few seconds of that. I thought it was a pretty good class. Nice work, Jake. Looked good, and he definitely was giving us some great learning. If you want to contact us, here's our information. Just to remind you how this course works, it's free to watch it live. It's $99 to stream it anytime. That's different than our Grockit's GMAT standard membership. They're two separate purchases. We're bundling them because people want both of them. So if you're buying the video course, it's different than the Grockit membership, but we're bundling them and we're going to be selling them to you at a better price as a bundle too. So just to talk about reading comprehension, let's remember to write things down. We're going to break down these passages together like we did before in reading comprehension. And let's review that a little bit. Last time we worked on main idea questions. We're going to review that a little bit today, but we're also going to look at inference questions, logical structure of the passage questions, and questions about things that are explicitly stated in the passage. Then we'll get to these in our last reading comprehension class. How do we want to read? We want to pay attention to very specific things because the GMAT over and over again asks us questions about things related to these issues. So opinions of the author are important, and opinions of folks that are in the passage are important. Pay attention to extreme language. You can pay attention to extreme language in the passage. That might give you a sense of something that's important in the passage, but also pay attention to extreme language in the questions, which we know, and we'll talk more about that as well. We want to get a sense, when we're done working with the passage, of the author's angle. Are they pro something? Are they against something? What is the author's angle here? What is the structure of the passage? Is it an argument? Is it a description? Is it a list? And then what is the passage overall about? Is it about dolphin slaughter? Is it about raising math standards? It could be about a lot of things. So what do we want to do? We want to ignore what we know. We want to work with the passage. We talked about this before. It's the same process. Ignore what you know, work the passage, identify and understand the question, work with the passage again, understand the question again, and work the answers in passage and questions together. And this seems like, why are we going back and forth? But that is literally how I work it. It is a bit of a back and forth because I want to work quickly and I want to make sure that I'm not answering the wrong question, because the answer choices are going to be structured such that if I'm working quickly, certain wrong answers are going to attract the mind that is working quickly and not being diligent about what logic and issues they're really going after. So it's important to do that. Working with the passage, and we did this before, we're going to do this again today. Think in terms of paragraphs, map out the location of structure and logic and examples and content by the paragraph. You can go ahead and read the whole paragraph if you want, or you can just take advantage of the first and last sentences of paragraphs like we've done before. Most passages are pretty readable in a couple of minutes, and if we focus on how we're reading, we can really get through them quickly and pull out what's important. I don't really ever remember too much other than what I've written down after I read a passage, and that's okay. It gives me enough of the location of information and the things that we talked about over here to get what I need to answer the questions. So great, we want to map out these things: the structure, the logic, any examples. Examples are pretty important on the GMAT verbal. If they list any, it's important, and if they don't and answer choices talk about examples, we can get rid of those answer choices. There have to be examples if the answer choice is talking about examples. We want to think about the content by paragraph. So keeping in mind typical incorrect answers, extreme language in answer choices. You have to be able to support it. It must be supported, or you can get rid of those answers. Answer choices that come out of nowhere, have nothing to do with anything that was in the passage. I don't know why they put these in there. Sometimes these are the ones that are a little bit easier to eliminate, but make sure you pay attention for just out of nowhere answers. We'll look at some answers and we'll label them like that while we're working.